All right, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum, shalom, welcome, 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 everyone. We are live today, and we are back, myself and my awesome co-host, Maya. And today we're doing afterthoughts, Negro with guns afterthoughts. And y'all know, what was it? Last week, I believe it was. And we were talking about it, and I was telling everybody to make sure you go over there and you listen. Because it is a riveting story that she's reading, which is in fact an autobiography, because Robert Williams, he actually wrote it. And listening how to Maya put her cinema touches on it, make you feel like you right there in the midst of it. So she has completed the book. And so today we're just going to do afterthoughts. We're going to talk about it and go over some different points where there may be some disagreement that I may have with Robert Whitway. That I do have with Robert Williams and some of the mistakes that I've seen from listening to her read the book that they have made. So let's welcome Maya in. Peace and blessings, Queen. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, hey, hey. Thank you for having me.
Always, always. Yes, yes, yes. So, okay. So, do you want to give a quick background on in case people who's checking in for the first time don't know who Robert Williams is?
Yeah, so Robert Williams, in a nutshell, he was a black man who lived in a southern segregated city, Union County, Monroe, North Carolina. And based upon what he shared with us in the book, is that he was just simply tired of oppression and injustices occurring in the black community. And he was a military vet. I thought it was I forgot what war. I think it was. I thought it was Vietnam, but I think I have it correct. I think he fought in World War II. I'm not sure. One of those wars he fought in for the United States government, but he came home as a military vet, trained to kill, with experience, knowing how to use weapons, and realized that in order to bring about change, he was going to have to meet violence with violence. I do feel as though there were times he did straddle the fence because he said that he was very flexible in his thinking, but nevertheless he was very pro self-defense. He understood that he had a right to defend himself, his community, his family, his wife, and he was viciously attacked several times by the Klan. He was known at the federal level, state level, local level. He was a threat to white races. And for me, I appreciate reading his book. I learned a lot. It was a great read. And I really do think that if a lot of people read that book and petition some of our producers, maybe perhaps it should be turned into a movie, because a lot of us never really knew that so many black people were not passive. Like it really opened my eyes to how many black people was ready to rock and roll. But unfortunately, because of the Christian church and passive leaders, we can, for what um, one reason or another, we will continuously be rocked to sleep with this nonviolent point of view. So it was just a good read for me, and I'm glad that I did it because he actually came alive and I felt his presence. And that's how we got here.
Mm, perfect, perfect. And I guess that I should definitely say that we respect Robert, Brother Robert, for everything that he did. Um, we respect him for being able to be man enough to even say the stuff that he said, when there were a lot of people who wouldn't even dare to think what he said or even to even think about what he actually did. So we definitely give him the honor and respect for what he did. Um, and also understanding, because this when you were reading the part about the court and the crack a lion on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thought that came to my head, because I was just like, damn. See, you should have killed the ass. You should have killed her. And the thought that came to my mind was, at that point in time, he didn't even realize what needed to be done. He was probably thinking more on the lines of, we need to get this situation under control. We need to get the hell up out of here. They coming. And not all the time can you make the best decisions under stressful environments. And so I definitely give him that credit. But since you were reading him and you felt the presence, did it come across to you that he was that type of man that would look at that cracker and put a bullet in her brain and be like, it is what it is? Or did you kind of get the feeling that he was more diplomatic versus actual, I'm about to put a bullet in your ass?
No, he didn't come across to me as someone who would kill her.
Okay.
Knowing that it would have been justified based upon she was willing to kill him first.
Right.
But no, he said it several times. He would have loved to, integrate public facilities peacefully. And that would be the first choice, to do it peacefully and be nonviolent. But while I'm being nonviolent, and while this damn Siri, and while, basically while he was being peaceful and being nonviolent, he understood that if I need to defend myself, I will do that. But I would much rather prefer to go about the peaceful and nonviolent way. So no, I don't see him saying, you came in this community, you at my house with this dumb shit, slice her throat. No, he didn't come across to me as that type of person.
Wow.
And remember, he was a leader, and there were people there who wanted to kill her, and he prevented her from being killed that night.
Yeah.
He's the reason why she survived. When it would have been justified to kill her, because the Klan tried to kill him first.
Exactly. Wow. And this thing that, and I've said this before, that even our people that, carry guns, the majority of them would actually have a problem shooting a white person. They wouldn't have a problem shooting one of us, but they would actually have a problem shooting a white person, whether it be a cop or a non-cop. They would have an issue with pulling that trigger. And they shouldn't. They should not. It should not be an issue whatsoever. But you put that gun in that cracker's hand, they're not gonna have an issue shooting us. Their children wouldn't have an issue shooting us. Not at all.
And if the tables were turned, if Robert were in a white community inciting violence, he would have been slaughtered, no questions asked. So why do you think he did not kill Mr. and Mrs. Stegall? Because it wouldn't have just been Mrs. Stegall. Mr. Stegall was there as well. So why do you think he did not kill them that night?
I'm thinking maybe he thought that it would turn out better for them if he didn't kill them, that maybe they would go to court and actually tell the truth that he was trying to protect them from the crowd. Maybe he was looking to get some type of favor, that they would, wouldn't be the liars that they are. And for one time actually say, no, he saved us. He helped us. Give him a reprise. I think that's probably what he was thinking. And then he also could have been thinking, like, we're dealing with this plane situation, because did they shoot because they didn't even shoot at the plane, did they?
I don't remember them saying that. I mean, they probably were, because bullets was flying in every direction.
Mm-hmm.
You got white people shooting, black people shooting, white folks in helicopters shooting. Bullets was going in every direction from both sides. So who knows? Maybe, perhaps. But I went back and I listened to I think it was chapter 5. And when the chief of police called Robert Williams' house to let him know that law enforcement was on the way to apprehend him and lynch him in the courtyard square where thousands of white people were gathering, he was going to have a public lynching. When he fled, the Steagles literally left as well. So I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. Robert escapes from being apprehended, and when he's fleeing away from his house, you mean to tell me the goddamn Steagles were able to walk through that same angry crowd, get in their car, and make it home to safety to go to the police station and say he kidnapped me? So it wasn't just Robert. It was all those people that were out there saying, kill this bitch, kill this motherfucker. They let him go too. When you think about it, if you go back and listen to chapter 5, if you infer, basically they had to have left as well unharmed.
Right.
So maybe perhaps there's something in the mind of Black people where we are under the impression that we can't kill a white person. I don't know. I'm just saying. But they got a way to tell the story and they lied on him. So it's not just Robert that saved her life. The Black people that were angry that once wanted to kill her, they still had to be outside when he fled, and they let them get away. You see? Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm pulling up the list of some of those things that we said we were going to talk about in the text message. So that is that with the Steagles, and she lied. But there was a Cherokee. His name he's a Cherokee writer and author. He's no longer with us. Depending on where you look for a photo of him, he looks like a European. But when you go a little bit further into your research and you find older pictures of him, he looks like he looks a little bit like Huey P. Newton, a light-skinned Black man with an afro. But he's definitely Cherokee. And he writes about the the Indian Removal Act. And he was present when the United States military came to his location reading the act to forcefully remove the Cherokee people from the land. And so he talks about in his writing how he was actually involved in a war, because a lot of Native Americans were fighting back. And at this time, because Andrew Jackson used to be on the battlefield as well. So to make this story real short, Andrew Jackson was involved in battle. He's forcefully trying to remove Native Americans from the land. Elias Boudinot, he's also fighting against the United States government to remain on the land. And so one of the Native Americans threw an axe at Andrew Jackson, and it almost hit Andrew Jackson in the head. Elias Boudinot, he pushes Andrew Jackson out of the way and saves his life. So when he saves Andrew Jackson's life, he goes to Andrew Jackson and he says, I saved your life. Now save my people. Call off this treaty so our people can keep our land, stop killing us. And Andrew Jackson told him, I'm sorry, but what's done is done. And Elias Boudinot wrote in his autobiography, he said, he told Andrew Jackson, if I knew then what I know now, I would have kicked your ass myself.
Mm.
You see?
Mm.
And so there is no compromising with the enemy.
Right.
And maybe, and that goes back to what you were saying. Maybe he thought that if I let her live, it would show these white racists that I am not the savage. I let this woman live. So since I let her live, you owe us something. But there's
Mm.
nothing about us, and they've said it several times. It's really nothing about us that they feel they have to respect. We have no rights that a white man feel he have to respect. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot that went on inside of their mind. But unfortunately to tell you, they were able to get away that night. And if the tables were turned, like Robert Williams said, he would have been already dead. He would have already been dead. There's no way
Mm-hmm.
they would let that black man in their house
Mm-hmm.
and not get attacked by an angry mob.
Right.
Wouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think because we have that God complex.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but they got away.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So you definitely disagree with that, correct?
Most definitely. Yeah. Yeah. She would have had to die. Her husband would have had to die. It should have been a shootout to the death. The planes had to get shot down because and we have to remember the kind of planes that they were flying back then. It was, these planes fly pretty low, so you can shoot them bad boys down. Especially because they had some type of machine gun nest, from what I can remember. So they would have been able to go ahead and do that. Now, this is one thing that has to be taken into consideration. How much ammunition did they have? Because if they didn't have a lot of ammunition, that would last at least, days. Because if they ran out of ammo really, really quick and did not have a way to get out, then they would all be slaughtered. And so that's one thing that when you're talking about fighting back, you have to have enough ammo to actually fight back. It makes no sense to buy all these guns and don't have enough bullets to keep the enemy off. And, I say this because if we can remember back in Detroit, at the Shrine of the Black Madonna, when they fought the police to a standstill because they had enough ammunition that was going to last them some time. And so that's what brought off the standstill, because their supply lines were not cut. They stored up ammunition because they knew that this shit was going to go down, and they knew they had to be able to be ready. And so this has to come into question to our brother was, did you have enough ammo to sustain your fight? And if you didn't have enough ammo to sustain your fight, then this is a big problem that you didn't calculate. But by him being a former military person, and at that time, I'm thinking it had to be Vietnam. It had to be the Vietnam War, not World War II.
Okay.
Yeah. So he knew about supply lines. He knew about having ammunition to maintain what you got. And if he did not do that, then that was a failure to prepare, a failure to plan, a failure to be ready. When you know that, this shit is going to pop, you have to have ammunition. And this is why I say when the floods come and national disasters come, the first place you raid is the gun shop. That's the first place you raid, not the supermarkets, not Walmart, not the gun store. That's the first place, because you want to take the weapons and you want to take every bit of ammo that you see, every bit of ammo that you find, because you have to be able to maintain. You have to be able to maintain. And so that is something very important that has to be on the list. And it has to be just as important as having food. You have to have ammo that's going to last. If you only got enough for a 2-hour, 3-hour shootout, you ain't going to make it. You got to have enough ammo to last. You have to be strategically planted. You have to be strategically planted. I would think that Brother Robert would have had people on top of the houses, because if you're on top of the houses, you have a better shot at hitting any airplane from on top of the house versus being on the ground. You have a better shot of getting, as the police coming into the neighborhood, to be picking them off because you're up high and they're down low. So this position gives you a better battle stand when the fighting comes. To have that high ground and have them down in the valley, so to speak, it aids you to be even more successful. Mm-hmm. So those things have to be taken into consideration. And from the way I received it, like that, he didn't have those things squared away. Mm-hmm. To me, it was more of here and now, we got to do this, ABC, and nothing was pre-planned. Mm-hmm. There was no already pre-planned formation of this is how we do. You take these rules, you take these, and you actually practice these things. You practice them. In the military, we practice these things monthly. And we were a unit. At that time, I was in finance and accounting. So we're not going out to the front lines except to bring money and pay the soldiers.
God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait a minute. You got people in the military that go on front line to pay people?
Yes.
That was before direct deposit.
Because direct deposit, when you're out there in the real deal, you want your money. Yeah, you may get some that go to the bank, but you want some money in your pocket, because when you come back from the front and you back here where everybody else is, and you may get a Liberty Pass, you need to have cash.
That's a damn shame.
Yep.
So, okay, so he says the story begins in 1955 when, as a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, I returned to my hometown of Monroe and joined the local chapter of the NAACP. So, I don't know what war it was, but he definitely was a Marine veteran. Now, what I'm hearing you say, and I do agree, is that to the most extent, he simply was not prepared, because remember, there's an angry mob of thousands of people at the county square and they want blood. Mm-hmm. He's at home with he called them his gun affiliates in the backyard trying to get their guns ready for nighttime. While in the daytime, all hell is breaking loose. So he's getting guns ready and answering telephone calls while all kind of shit is going on, and it's a full-scale riot. So the bottom line is we have to be prepared with our own local militias, which the Constitution gives us the right to do that. I mean, we have a human right to do that, but how many of us in our local communities actually have neighbors where we can say, when the shit go down, we have our own little neighborhood local militia? I don't have that in my neighborhood. Most of my neighbors, they good Christians. They don't I don't think they have weapons. Some of them might. I'm not saying that they don't, but I don't see my neighbors being that way because they're very passive. I'm the most aggressive person on my block. And I take a lot of shit because you're not going to come in this neighborhood and do what the fuck you want to do. And a lot of times I've learned to stop going to the men who have wives and children. When I see something in my neighborhood, I used to go into the men and tell them to see if they would handle it as men, and they would not. And I'm like, you mean to tell me you just gonna sit here and be quiet about this shit and you have a wife and children? And they wouldn't do anything. And there have been times that I spoke out against people coming into this community doing wrong and committing crimes. And I have been threatened with being raped. I've had black men to tell me, bitch, I'll rape you. And I'm like, really? And the men who live on the block, they don't even try to come to my defense. So how many of us actually have a local militia that we can count on to help protect our families and our homes? Because the United States government, as Robert Williams said, they have militias whose assignment it is to attack us. When the Marines are busy, when the Army is busy, when the Air Force is busy, when the military is busy doing what they do, when the shit fall down, they still have a local militia of people whose job it is to kill us. My question is, what do we have?
Exactly. And we don't have anything. And that's a real problem.
And not only did we not have it then, so it's 2025, and why the fuck we still don't have it now? We got little gun clubs, but it's not enough. It is not enough. And that's something that we have to pay attention to. And that's why conversations like this is so very important. So that you say, you know what? I was listening to this show on YouTube and they were talking about Robert Williams, Negroes with guns. And you know, the lady made a good point. Sis, bruh, mom, dad, cousin, neighborhood, let's have a neighborhood action meeting to say, if we come under attack, who got guns to help protect our block? You see?
Exactly. That's right. That's 100% correct. And that is something that we have to be prepared for. And it is something that, unfortunately, that's not thought about. Now, for me, where I am in Philly, I am the block captain of the block. On the block that I live on, there's a lot of elderly people that live on the block. There's more elderly people than anything. I think we may have one or two houses with teenagers. Everybody else are older folks. Because even I think about, as I just told you, having people up on rooftops and stuff like that. And, you know, we're starting our block watch and we're getting the communication squared away so that, you know, each house have their walkie-talkie where they can, you know, bing, bing, hey, this is going on up here, blah, 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 blah. It's hard to have a militia type group for this block because everybody's older. But in my strategic plan is to be able, once this block is straight and organized the way I need it to be, then there's a provision in the city charter that says if I wanted to take over the next block and there's no block captain, I can do that. I would have to get the signatures just like I did on this block to be able to take over that block. Now, those blocks have a lot of young people on it. And the plan is I want to take from where we are all the way down till you get to another main street, and then work on the streets in front and in back. So that way you'll have a solid area of being able to hold the line. It's one thing to be able to have this conversation with you because you and I understand the day, the time, and what must be done. The problem is convincing our people to do what need to be done, to join up and say, this is what's going to happen. Because when you start talking about strategic planning and what your role is, and your position, and you're training them to think on this line, because you're training them to think on this line, there will be a day that they would have to actually act, where they have to actually act. And the hardest point, it is to get them from being on their couch and being indecisive when they know trouble is brewing, to get them to action. And a lot of times they will think, well, shit, nigga, if I do what you talking me to do, you gonna have me locked up. Shoot, who we gonna shoot? The police? Who we gonna shoot? The National Guard?
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
So it takes a lot of work in convincing scared people to be proactive. It takes a lot of work. Now, if we were white folks and we were living in a white area, you and I, we wouldn't have a hard time convincing them to do any of this shit. They'd be like, okay, yep, I'm down with you. What you need me to do? How we need to do this, A, B, C, or D. They ready for it.
And that happened with Rodney King during the Rodney King riots.
Exactly.
But before I forget, because you mentioned walkie-talkies, which to me, I would not even waste my time purchasing those because you got to have batteries and at some point it's going to wear out. But nevertheless, in terms of a neighborhood watch, you can do that with WhatsApp. You can go to your neighbors and get their permission to put them in a group conversation. And if they see something, they can say something. And that's a way for you all to stay in communication with each other. It's just a thought, or maybe a group text message just for now. So that way y'all can have a chain of communication and people can feel comfortable with each other and, just really get to know each other. That's one thing. But when Rodney King riots occurred, a lot of black people, they was trying to go up in the mountains and rob them white people. And I literally remember watching the television, white people in California in the hills, they formed a militia. They had little skinny ass 5'5" white women, teeny as fuck, coming out with rifles and shotguns and all kind of shit. And they told them niggas, if you bring your ass up in these hills, bitch, we'll kill you. I remember seeing that. I really do remember seeing that.
Wow. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. And your comment about the walkie-talkies is very good. But we got to remember that when the time of battle comes, they're going to cut the internet. They're going to seal off phone service. So our phones won't be any good. We have to be able to have another way of communication that can't be cut.
But I'm just talking about like now, like, starting something. You got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere for people to get to know you and feel comfortable as a local community, and even having little community meetings, even pulling the men aside. I don't give a damn how old the men are, how young or old, and say, you know what? We need to start having meetings to determine how we're going to protect our wives and how we're going to protect our children, how we're going to protect our property. And if they don't want to be involved, when the shit do go down, I'll be like, bitch, don't come over here. I ain't got nothing for you. When something happens in my neighborhood, Like because I live on water, and they be knocking on my door trying to, can you come kill this? Can you come kill that? I'm like, really? And they be grown ass men.
What?
You coming to ask me to kill something? You ain't got no damn rifle. So I understand what you're talking about. But it come a time, it's going to have to be every man for himself, because my patience sometimes get real short with people. Because a lot of people, their mind just simply not going to change. So you're going to have to put a bug in their ear and maybe start having some meetings and let them know, look, when it all, like Robert said, when the lady was like, you got to get me out of here. Miss Steagall, the white lady, in the black neighborhood starting shit. Now she's surrounded by angry black mob and angry black group, and they want to kill her. And she's like, Robert, you can get me out of here. You can help get me out of here. He say, lady, I'm busy. I'm trying to protect myself and my family. I don't have time for you. The same way you walked your ass in here, walk your motherfucking ass up out of here. Because when it do go down, I don't have time to deal with people who did not want to prepare.
Right.
I'm too busy trying to save my shit. It's gonna be too late. I'm gonna leave a lot of motherfuckers behind, especially on my block. A lot of people gonna get left behind. I know that already. I ain't trying to be no fucking Rambo for these people. And I've gone to them already, and I say, hey, what y'all gonna do? And these men was not willing to stand up for me. So now I know. Just like I don't like to tell all my shit on YouTube, but there was a time I had a surgery and I could not walk, but I was still going to work. And so at my job, they were talking about mass shootings, because you have to have an action plan. And so the way my mind thinks, I said, well, excuse me, I have a very important question to ask. I said, if there is a mass shooting in this building, I say all of y'all, it was like maybe like 70 people or so. I say, all of you all can see that I'm stitched up and I can't walk. I said, if there is a mass shooting, is anybody in here going to help me or willing to help me, seek or reach safety or get to a safe place? And people said no.
What?
They told me no in my face. They said, no, I'm not going to help. I'm telling you, as I sit here on this motherfucking YouTube tonight, my coworkers told me in a mass shooting, no, I'm not going to help you. I'm going to be too busy trying to save myself.
Wow.
Only one person, and I will never forget her. She said, I will help you. And I said, thank you very much. And I looked at everybody else and I said, I thank you for your honesty. Because when I get back walking, if there is a mass shooting, I already know not to fuck with you. I thank them for being honest. Damn. And if something ever happened, I'm a OJ Simpson over their motherfucking ass.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah. I just wanted to know. I just wanted to know because I know me. I know me. When my head go, I'm gone. Right. I just be, I don't know where I get this shit from, but must be the ancestors. I just be turned straight goddamn Dukes of Hazzard, Rambo, Jackie Chan, all kind of shit, right? But I wanted to know who I was not going to help if the shit really went down. And you can't fault anybody for being honest. They were being honest. They said, no, I'm not going to help you. As stitched up as the fuck you are and can't walk, you on your own. Dang. And I didn't get mad at them. I didn't curse them out. I treated them the same way with respect like I always do. But I know now. You could do all that shit and still be on your own. So let's talk about the swimming pool.
All right. So Brother Robert's position was to be able to use the local swimming pool that did not allow Black people to use.
Right.
And I disagreed with that. you know, out of all, even in the South, when I was living down there and raising my children, I never allowed them to go to a pool that white folks go to.
Wow.
I never allowed that because I know that white folks are nasty. They are nasty, and so you're swimming in a nasty bowl of whatever, shit, piss, snot, all of that. And that's not something that, I wanted for my children, so they were not allowed to go to it. They didn't have a swimming pool until they reached their teenage years, and I was able to put a pool in the back of the house. And so I think it's irresponsible as leadership, over Black people to go into City Hall or whatever and beg them to allow Black children to swim in water that are infected by white folks. I don't think that makes any sense. I think that it's a health hazard for us. So the best thing would have been to build our own, collect the money, build our own, and let it be that. Now, to address the part where our tax dollars are going in to maintain this quote unquote white only pool, then I advocate that they should have burned it down. They should have burned it down. And every time it tries to be rebuilt, burn it down. They didn't have technology like they have technology today. So burn the fucker down. Our great sister Fannie Lou Hamer, she was giving an interview, and she said about the youngsters of that time that they want a piece of America. And I'm not quoting it 1,000% right. I'm just summing it up. They want a piece of America. They know that our blood and sweat drenched this soil. They understand that we built this. And they're saying, if we can't get our fair share, then you ain't going to get your fair share either. And so that translates to me that burn the shit up. Burn it the fuck down. Because they would have done that to us.
Remember the white guy poured acid in the pool?
Exactly.
When those Black people was in that pool, they goddamn man came with a goddamn bottle of acid and was throwing damn acid in the pool while the Black people was in the damn pool. Exactly.
These are the demons that we're dealing with. And since they're that diabolical, they're that uncaring, that they will pour acid into a pool, what else would they do? If they know, well, hell, the niggas get to use the pool too, what else are they going to do to it? So it's more sensible to go build our own and keep them the fuck out and keep torching their shit. Every time they rebuild it, burn the motherfucker down again. Because in my thinking, that this is a protracted war that we've been in since our first coming into contact with white folks. This is a protracted war, and we have not done the things that needed to be done in a mass way to teach white folks that don't fuck with us.
What do you mean when you say protracted?
Over time. Started in 1555 and it's been lasting all the way to 2025.
Just ongoing and lingering.
Exactly. And we have not fired a shot yet as a group that will say to them, oh, I can't fuck with you. We haven't done that as a group. Now, the Nation of Islam has done that. And because they have done that, as a group, as an organization, now there's rules for engagement. Meaning the police just can't run up into a mosque no more. They got to call and speak with the captain and the minister and get permission if they can come to the mosque or come in the mosque. Because previously they would run up in there with their guns, fight starting, and police getting killed. So after enough of them got killed and understanding that the Muslims gonna fight, so okay, we got to do things differently. Now they get on the phone and call first to make sure everything is a-okay. If we can remember during what's that cracker name, Giuliani, when he was mayor of Chicago, of New York, and I think his name was Bratton. He was a police commissioner, and from back in the day, and Giuliani brought him back on to be the current commissioner. And somebody called the police, supposedly from the mosque, saying, we got somebody in here shooting and all this foolishness. And so the police disregard their structured response of how it's supposed to be done and ran up in the mosque and got their ass whooped, got their ass handled. Motherfuckers were being thrown down the steps. The female police officer too got thrown down the fucking steps because we gonna fight. Right. You ain't running up in there. We will fight you. Them people on the outside, that's the first line of defense. You got a brother on the outside, you got a brother on the inside. You ain't getting in there. You about to tumble. And so they were throwing police down the fucking steps, white women included, going down the fucking steps. And so it created a big standoff because police now getting their ass whooped and they want to get in the mosque. But the FOI is like, you ain't coming up in here. So during a press conference, they had to call Branton and like, this is what's going on. And he's like, why the fuck are y'all even doing this? This doesn't even make sense. And come find out it was a phony call. It was a phony call just to get them to come up in there and do that and got their ass whooped. And even back in the 70s, when they did it, they killed police officers in the mosque with their own fucking weapons, shot them dead. And to this very day, right now, nobody has went to jail for it. They charged the brother, but couldn't make the charges stick. And the police in New York are still angry about it, that nobody's went to jail for killing a cop. Well, you run up in the mosque, your ass gonna get handled. And Minister Farrakhan was the minister of the mosque in New York City at that time. Mosque number 7. And they killed the police. They sure did. Killed one and beat the shit out of another one. And the thing was so tight that when the community people knew that the police was inside the mosque, the people, black people, showed up. The damn snipers was trying to get to the rooftops of the buildings to surround the mosque, and the people were saying, you ain't going nowhere. Our people shut that shit down. They would not let the police advance. The motherfucking captain and commanders, they had to beg Minister Farrakhan, can you escort us out and safely through the mob of people? And could you bring your men this evening down to the police department so that we can process them for the murder of our police officer? Yeah. Minister said, I will be there. And he escorted them out. and you can see him, because there's a picture, you can see him on top of the car with the megaphone telling the people to let the police go.
Wow.
Let the police out the neighborhood. Don't kill them. Let them go. And all of this on record. We can go and see it. And so they understood. And that evening, when the minister went to the police department, he showed up by himself without the brothers who were there, because he was advised by, the nation's legal department, you can go yourself, but do not bring them in.
Right. So let me ask you a question. I was under the impression that the Nation of Islam, the members of the Nation of Islam, are not supposed to own weapons like guns. Is that true?
That is true. We're not permitted to carry weapons. We are permitted, if somebody attack us with a weapon, we're permitted to pick that weapon up and use it on them, to take it from them and use it on them. We're permitted to do that, but we're not permitted to have weapons in our home, simply because when you're at a level and you and your wife are having arguments, and the arguments can't be controlled and they exceed the limit, and certain times people will reach for a gun, reach for a knife, and you have that in your home, pop, pop, boom. It's too late now for saying I'm sorry. It's too late. So we were taught that until we learn proper control, keep the weapons outside your home. When you learn.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you can have it, but that's when you have self-control.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. And you don't have to have no special permission or nothing like that. It's just when you feel it's safe for you to do it. Oh, I thought y'all couldn't own a weapon at all, but I think I do remember you telling me that. Just forgot. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get to the Freedom Riders.
To the Freedom Riders? Okay, yes. Okay, so dealing with hold on one second. It's starting to rain and my dog is still outside. Let me bring him in. Okay.
No problem. I see I have 5 people in my chat. Thank you very much for being here. If you would like to put a comment, please feel free to do so. We stream a lot on Maurice's channel on Tuesday. We're studying The Fall of America by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So if you feel like you want to go to his channel and subscribe and listen to us every Tuesday at 6 as we read The Fall of America, you are more than welcome to do so. We would love to have you all.
All right, big boy, stop. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we're talking about the Freedom Riders, right?
Yeah, so let me set the stage. So according to Robert Williams, with his self-defense approach.
Mm-hmm.
He was making progress with police brutality and, the violence that was committed on him and Black people in Monroe. And because he chose to use weapons and he had his group, the police knew not to deal with them. It was hands off. And so Martin Luther King says that Martin Luther King Jr. hand selected a Christian pastor who came down to Monroe to work with the Freedom Riders. The pastors were supposed to be troubleshooters. If there was a problem, they would help troubleshoot it. And for the most part, the Freedom Riders, their point of view was, we're going to show y'all Black people how to progress, how to integrate without defending yourself. You don't have to defend yourself. As a matter of fact, you're going to swear on oath that you are not going to defend yourself and you will take a nonviolent approach. A lot of people in the city were, they were kind of confused. Like, wait a minute, you say defend yourself. The Freedom Riders say don't defend yourself. You say meet violence with violence. Freedom Riders say nonviolence. Like, what do we do? And so Robert told, like, the youth, he gave his, he gave his approval. Go ahead and join the Freedom Riders. If you think you can, help and bring about integration peacefully and nonviolently, hell, I'll become a pacifist. But things turned really ugly within 3 to 4 days. When the Freedom Riders got to Monroe, they were looking at these police officers who had been previously attacking Black people, and they were looking at these angry white people, and they didn't see those angry faces. And so the Freedom Riders was like, those people are actually nice people. They're not bad people. They really nice. I think they like us. And Robert Williams was like, they smiling at your ass because they're thinking about the ways they're going to kill you. And because of the Freedom Riders, it really agitated white people,
Mm-hmm.
and it really caused violence to erupt. So what do you say about, if you were Robert Williams, what would you have said to these students when the Freedom Riders came down? What would you have said to the pastor, Robert Brooks? What would you have said to Martin Luther King Jr.? Because when that riot broke out, the Freedom Riders had a lot to do with it.
That what I would have done, I wouldn't have let them come to my city, first of all. That would have been a no-go. If you're already in, talking and you got something that y'all working out, and what, when the Freedom Riders come, what comes with that, then you're responsible as a leader of your group to maintain the security of your group. So he should have told them, no, we don't want you to come, go ahead and we'll handle this our way. We'll keep it a local issue. That's what he should have done, but he didn't. He allowed them to come. And then if I heard it correctly, and I believe I did, when you were reading, that he told the militant ones that they can join in with the Freedom Riders. That's correct, right?
To my understanding, I recall him addressing the youth. There were a lot of youth who he gave his blessing for them to join. I'm not necessarily sure with the militant ones, but I know he did give his approval to work with the Freedom Riders to see if their approach would work. And like I said, he even said, if it does, I'll become a pacifist.
Yeah, I think he was, because I remember hearing that these was the militant ones that he told to go and join with the riders, the civil rights riders, Freedom Riders, and take this oath to be pacifists, to be nonviolent. I had a problem with that because, one, you're sending them out there to do something that you would not do. And then two, when you have a militant one, you don't send your militant ones out there to go take an ass whooping that that they're going to receive. Those are your fighting elite. Those are the ones that you make sure you keep tight control of because you need them. You need them at every stage of the battle to do what need to be done. Now, those ones that don't believe in picking up a gun, yeah, that's what y'all want to do. Y'all go do it, and you're going to get what you're going to get. But my militant ones who believe in picking up a gun, I'm not sending them out there to get their ass whooped. That's not going to happen. That doesn't make any sense. So that was a big problem. One, you're asking them or telling them to go do something that you don't even want to go do. That you understood and you know that shit just not gonna work. That's a problem. And when I heard that, it reminded me what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told Minister Farrakhan. He said, "You stay where I put you." Because Minister Farrakhan was asking him about the civil rights workers and their movements and the March on Washington. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "Stay where I put you. Don't you move. Don't you deviate from it. Stay there." Because where the messenger put us was a safe area. We don't want to be integrated with you. We don't want to be around you. We don't want to be your neighbor. We don't want to be your friend. We don't want to be your lover. We don't want nothing to do with you. We don't believe in taking an ass whooping so we can sit at your counter and you spit in our food and we eat it. Mm-hmm. We don't believe in taking an ass whooping so that you can tell me, "Nigga, get the hell out of my establishment." We don't believe in these things. But see, the civil rights workers, they believed in taking an ass whooping, and they're going to achieve this big old freedom because we non-violently took an ass whooping. See, this shows their misunderstanding of the enemy, because they believed on this moral ground that the enemy doesn't operate on no moral ground. You don't give a shit about what's morally right. They don't care about that. That's something that we care about, something that's morally right. They don't operate on that level. They don't care about nothing on that level. And this has been an ongoing issue for them and an ongoing issue for us, because we as a people keep making the mistake of thinking that they think like we think, but they don't. This is the same mistake that Hannibal made when he was going and he was whooping on the Romans. He was kicking their behind. And then he said, "I'm going to stop now. And then they're going to come and present their peace offering to me because I've won now." And the Romans didn't do that. When he stopped, they regrouped and went around the back way and got stronger again. And now he's on the run for his life because now they're coming to kill him. It's the same mistake that we make over and over again, that we have to kill them and not think about waiting for the terms that they're going to present to us. If we think about this, right, this civil rights movement, this quote unquote to get us our freedom that has yet to materialize, we look at the progress of these civil rights leaders compared to the progress of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We look at W.E.B. Du Bois. He was in the civil rights movement for approximately 65 to 70 years and did not accomplish anything. Philip A. Randolph, about 60 years. Ella Baker, 55 years. Dorothy Height, 70 years. Rosa Parks, 62 years. Bernard Rustin, 50 years. James Meredith, 64 years and counting, because James Meredith is still alive. John Lewis, 61 years. Jesse Jackson, 65 years and counting. Al Sharpton, 65 years and counting. Martin Luther King, 13 years. Malcolm X, 13 to 15 years. And this equality, this integration that they fought for is still not achieved. With all of these years put together, they're still not achieved. So there's a problem. Go on your civil rights, let's integrate and love each other. That shit don't work. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, separate and let's build our own. Let's build our own. Let's build our own hospitals. Let's build our own airports. Let's have our own planes. Let's have our own grocery stores, our own international trade and commerce. We can build our own houses. This worked. This worked. When the Nation of Islam sat down with the Ku Klux Klan and the white nationals, and even they were invited to Savior's Day. And Savior's Day is the big day in the Nation of Islam, our, holy day, where all the believers come.
Right.
And the messenger said, come on. Come on, Mr. Nazi. Come on, KKK. Come on, y'all that don't like black folk. That y'all don't like us. You come on to our day. They showed.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they showed, and they said, these people ain't niggas. This is black men and black women. They not niggas.
Wow.
We can't fuck with them. They will kill us.
So when they say they not niggas, they mean they're not afraid. They're not mentally dead and passive.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. They understood what they were looking at. They understood that they were looking at their death. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and you remember, in the fall of America, the white folks was doing this to our cows and poisoning the land, remember? Mm-hmm. The messenger said, I'm fed up with this shit. Come on to Savior's Day. Let me show you what you're really dealing with. And he showed them, we will kill you. You think that we're in the ones and twos. That's not us. Mm-hmm. We ain't trying to be your neighbor. We ain't trying to love on you. We don't even like you. Leave us the fuck alone. But if you keep doing this, we will kill you. He's showing them this is who we are. You're looking at a military. You're looking at your death. This was the move that the messenger did to let them know, look, we done tried to talk it out, and y'all don't want to respect that. Y'all want to keep doing this and doing it? Well, we've had enough now. Now you about to meet what you about to earn. You about to meet it. And it scared the shit out of them. Mm-hmm. And they backed the fuck up. And they gave us the respect that we're due. I mean, even when it came down to the mob, to the New York mob, because the FOI beat a mob boss son with a bat. And they were in their little rooms talking about it. And, the FBI was recording the shit. And they recorded the conversation. And they was like, yeah, this black Muslim beat whatever the boss son name. And they was thinking, okay, well, this is how we're going to do it. We'll go and whoop him with a bat or some knives to make him think that it was another black person that did it. And then the dude was like, hey, remember, he's a black Muslim. And they were like, oh, yeah, that's right. Well, we'll have to think about it. And nothing was ever done. Nothing was ever done. Because even the mob understood that those Muslims will fuck you up. They stole a truck one day, and the messenger got on the radio and said, before sunrise, that truck better be back there, or they're going to be hell to pay. Before sunrise, that truck was parked right back in front of the mosque.
Mm-hmm.
Because they understood that the Muslims would go there and don't have no fucking fear whatsoever. But they were afraid of the Muslims. And this is what I was saying the other day. When the Muslims understood that the white man is the devil and you don't have to fear them because you God, shit, they were robbing banks. They were robbing banks and not giving a fuck about it. And taking the money and giving it to the messenger. And the messenger was like, hey, where you get all this money from?
Whoa.
We robbed the bank.
Wow.
And the messenger stopped. I ain't making you to be no crook.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go rob a bank and bring the money to me. I'm not making you into no crook. I'm not making you into them. I didn't free you mentally so you can become them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just like the Hanafi murders that took place in D.C. because that group was talking shit about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Muslims didn't like it, and they went there and slaughtered them. Didn't give a shit. You shouldn't have done it. They didn't deserve to die, especially like that. They didn't deserve that, but you did it because fear was removed. There were Muslims in California went on a damn killing spree of killing crackers. And the white folks was trying to figure out who was doing this shit. Who was doing it? And the only way these motherfuckers got caught, they put out a reward. You turn in the people who doing it and you'll get a reward. This dumb fuck goes down there and tells on everybody, expecting to walk away with the reward. And it's like, why would you do that? And so they wound up getting locked up. But Muslims then didn't have a fear of jail, didn't have a fear of white folk, and they was killing. They were killing because their mind was freed now. And so this may be the negative side of a freed mind, but it's a freed mind. And you don't have that fear of your enemy and nothing else. So if you offend this, now I'm going to kill you. And see, this is where that maturity has to come into line. This is where that responsibility now has to come into play. Now, even Malcolm X is the one who instituted the pipe party, where the Muslims in New York would take that pipe and go tune your ass up if you disrespect the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or not sold your papers or did any little thing that you shouldn't have done, you will get tuned up. And Malcolm X is the one who introduced that part as being a function of the mosque, that it's our responsibility to tune the motherfucker up.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, hold on. Before I forget, hold on to that point, okay? Because I do want to touch on something.
Okay.
Now, based on the information, I had to go back to the PDF file, and I want to say this on behalf of Robert Williams and those who were involved. Now, we already know about the Freedom Riders and their point of view. We already know that they got some of the youth and probably some other members of the community. They were involved as well, but they formed a nonviolent committee, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with that nonviolent committee, they they agreed to be nonviolent, but also not to defend themselves. And so what Robert Williams wrote, and this is on page 42 of my digital file. So I'm gonna put it in context because he says by afternoon there were thousands of white racists that had gathered in town. So they concentrated at the courthouse square, and this is around 4:30 in the afternoon. And he goes on to say that basically, you know, a riot is breaking out. You got the freedom riders and the nonviolent committee. They out there getting their ass beat. And so Robert Williams says this. He says, where was it? He says, when the self-defense guard, now this is his self-defense guard.
Mm-hmm.
When the self-defense guard, because I don't think, because remember you asked, were the self-defense guard involved with the nonviolence? And this is where it took me based upon what I recall. And he said, when the self-defense guard, which up to now had stayed away from the courthouse square, when they heard that the lives of the freedom riders and the local nonviolent youth were in danger, they jumped into their cars and rode into town, breaking through the mob's blockade to rescue the picketers. And so when they got there, remember, the police were taking their guns, the self-defense guard, they were taking the self-defense guard's guns and turning it over to the mob. So it's not that they were participating in the picketing and being nonviolent, but they did jump in to help people who pledged on oath to be nonviolent. And that's asinine. That's just ridiculous, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. It is.
I just wanted to clear that up.
And no way should they have allowed the police to take their guns. No way. You're going there for a purpose, and you can't go there and then they say, "Give me a gun," and you say, "Okay." It don't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. If it's going to work that way, then why show the fuck up?
But at the same time, like, I'm not going to fight for someone who's not going to fight for themselves. And you just said that. And I think I heard that was Malcolm X said it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you want to go get your ass ate up by police dogs, if you want to carry your ass out there and let the firemen attack you with those fire hoses and police beat you with their goddamn batons, if that's what you want to do, you are more than welcome to do that. But if I believe in self-defense, when the shit go down, don't expect me to come out there and save you, because it's not going to fucking happen because you put yourself in that position.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up.
And that is the same thinking, because Malcolm wanted the nation to go and aid the civil rights workers as well. Wow. And the messenger said no. That's not our fight. If they want to go out there and do that, that's on them.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah, that's on them. He said, "Look, I'm teaching you the right thing, but you want to go do something that's not the right thing. So if you go out there and you get your ass whooped, then that's what you earned, because I done taught you better than that."
So when Malcolm made that comment, it was after he got that lesson from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to say, "Hell no, we're not going out there."
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I forgot where were we before?
You were saying the Attitude Adjustment Committee with the pipe.
Right. They will go out and they'll whoop that ass. And that Malcolm X introduced that. Malcolm X introduced that. And is this, I'll say this as well. There is no way that in America you're going to have a group and think that you're going to be nonviolent in all your interactions. That's just not reality, because violence is an everyday part of America. and that violence will meet you at your door. And so when it does meet you at your door, you better be prepared. You better be ready to handle your business. And so because the civil rights writers were never prepared to truly handle business, because in their mind, in their warped mind, handling business means I'm going to let you beat me. I'm going to let you kill me. I'm going to let you do all manner of evil, and I'm still going to love you. And my loving you is going to conquer your hatred of me, and it's going to make you do right. And that shit just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Anytime that you're dealing with an enemy, especially this white enemy, loving him doesn't work. You don't respect that. They don't respect that. Hell, didn't we just see where the black man was with the white girl and she was whooping his ass and eventually killed him?
Yeah, the one in the elevator?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He loved her. He loved her. His love for her didn't stop her from killing him.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work. Loving them produces nothing because they don't operate from a position of love. They don't. That's not something that's tallied in their mind to say, because I love you, I'm not going to harm you. Fuck you. They don't think like that. That's not their modus operandi. We operate from a position of love because that's a part of who we are. But we make the mistake of thinking that they are human like us. And they're not. And that's a deadly mistake that we make over and over and over again, even when it comes to their children. Even when it comes to their children, because they train their children to kill. When our brother in Philly during the African Street Festival and he saw the black dude walking with the white girl hand in hand, holding hands through the African Street Festival, and he said, "You ain't ready for no freedom. Because you got to kill some crackers. You got to kill some cracker babies." And then Malik Zulu Shabazz got on worldwide TV and denounced our brother for speaking the truth. He wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. You got to be willing to kill them, even their babies, because they're going to kill you and they'll kill your babies. We have a history of them killing our babies. We know this is what they do. Hell, the fucking fake Jew lady said about the Palestinians, we're not going to hate you for killing our babies. We're going to hate you for making us kill your babies. That's what she said. Nobody but black people have a rule that you shouldn't kill babies.
Mm-hmm.
We're the only people that got that rule. Everybody else, they gonna kill the babies. They don't give a shit. But you gotta save the women and children. No, you don't. No, you really don't. Because it's wartime. And in war, they gotta go.
Now hold on. Let me read it. Let me read this, okay?
Okay.
So now, because this ties into what you're talking about. Robert Williams says, as for being a black nationalist, this is a word that's hard to define. No, I'm not a black nationalist to the point that I would exclude whites, or that I would discriminate against whites, or that I would be prejudiced towards whites. I would prefer to think of myself as an internationalist. That is, I'm interested in the problems of all mankind. I'm interested in the problems of Africa, Asia, and of Latin America. I believe that we all have the same struggle, a struggle for liberation. Discrimination and race hatred are undesirable, and I am just as much against racial discrimination in all forms, every place in the world, as I am against it in the United States.
You know, I think that that's very unfortunate that that was his position, because that's a loser's position.
Mm.
Look, our job is us, right? Now, I know our people are in Africa, our people in Brazil, our people in the UK. I know that those are our people. But our fight is here. It's here. This is our fight. Those other spots, that's their fight. That's their load. That's their race that they got to run on their own. We got to fight here. I don't expect Africa to come here to fight the cracker for us. I don't expect that to happen. I don't expect none of the 55 countries to come together and say, we're going over to America and fight America for the black people that's there. I don't expect that. I don't look to that. Because it ain't going to happen. When Nelson Mandela came to America and they asked him about our shit here, he said, it is inappropriate. It is not appropriate for me to speak upon the international or to speak upon the internal conflicts within America between black and white. That would not be for me to speak on. He said this when he was talking with Ted Koppel, because a black person stood up and asked him a question. And this is after we done protest and did all that shit, free Mandela, free Mandela. Mandela get over here and say, I ain't speaking on your shit. It would be inappropriate. And left it. So even though he wants to seem to be the answer for everybody, it don't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
You got to help at home before you can do anything else. You got to take care of home, because nobody else is going to listen, because you haven't built a product that you can say this works. You got to do it at home. Get this together. And then once you got this together, you can outreach. But look here, we're dealing with an enemy who believes in mistreatment and killing you. Believes in it. Not just one individual believes that, but all of them believe it. Thousands of them believe it. You may have one or two that don't, but that one or two that don't can't stop the 1,000 that do. So you want to offer all of them love? That's why the Quran says, have you no sense at all? Why would you offer them love while they drive you out? Have you no sense? This is the God telling you. Have you no sense? That's not how things operate. And you want to be an internationalist. And where did it get you? How long did this organization last? I don't even believe it lasted 5 years.
Yeah, then he went into exile, on into Canada, on into Cuba. He also lived in China, and he didn't come back to the United States until 1996 when they dropped all the charges. And he was very old by then with Hodgkin's disease.
Mm-hmm. His internationalism got him nothing. His people are still suffering from the same shit that they were suffering from prior to him leaving. Now, if you would have stuck with being a black nationalist and cared about the politics of your community, controlling the economics of your community, controlling every sphere of operation in your community for the advancement of your people, you'd have gotten so much further down the line. You wouldn't have had to go and run to this country, run to this country, run to this country. You wouldn't have had to do none of that. You didn't have to do none of that. You would have been a builder of something to last.
Mm-hmm.
But you chose the option to love everybody and get nothing in return.
Now listen to this. What do we mean by nationalism? When you consider the present white American society, it can be classified as nothing but a nationalistic society based on race. Yet, as soon as an Afro-American speaks out for his people and is conscious and proud of his people's historical roots and culture, he becomes a nationalist. I don't mind these labels. I don't care what they call me. I believe in justice for all people. And because the Afro-American is the most exploited, the most oppressed in our society, I believe in working foremost for his liberation.
But he thinks that their liberation, our liberation, is tied to our integration.
Mm-hmm.
And that's his problem. Because tied to the integration, which means assimilation, and it kills ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It kills ourselves. That's like the Montgomery bus boycott. You want to integrate. We had our own busing company, and it was operating fine. Buses wasn't bad, taking you to where you got to go. But because you wanted to ride with white folks, you wanted to ride up front with white folks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you didn't win it in the boycott. You didn't win it there. You had to win it in the court. Because the bus company said, nigga, I don't give a damn. You still ain't riding up front. But it took a court order to get you to ride up front. So the boycott didn't work. You had to go to court. Now, you took your black ass to court, and then you integrated into the bus system. You assimilated into their busing, and then you lost every bus that you had that was black.
But was it through the court system, or was it because financially the bus system was crumbling? Because I never thought that, the way I learned it, the bus company was losing so much money. They say, I don't give a fuck what y'all niggas said. Just come back and get on the bus.
Mm-mm. It was won in the courts. It wasn't won because the bus company surrendered.
Mm-mm.
No, they won that shit in the courts. That's how they won that. Look at the bus company was, fuck it. We live or die, but these motherfuckers ain't riding up front with us. We're not going to give them first class citizenship. It's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So the blacks had to take that shit to court because they thought that it was going to shut down soon as the black people stopped riding and they saw the money loss. But these motherfuckers was like, this is our way of life. This is something that we will kill for. This is something we will die for. This is our way of life. And they wasn't about to compromise on that. And so they realized that and said, well, fuck it, let's take it to court. And took it to court, and that's where they won it at. And when they won it, then we lost. And there was a video, they did an interview with the son of one of the black bus companies. And he showed the nice big old bus. I think it was like a Trailways bus that they were using as regular buses. And he was like, yeah, we were doing good. But once they won the lawsuit about the buses, he was like, about a year or two after that, we were out of business. So, yeah, this is one of the last remaining. So, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
We gave up what was ours to accept bullshit, to accept nothing, but to continue to make the people hate us rich.
Uh-huh.
That's what we did. We made the people that hate us, we made them rich.
Today, right now, today.
Exactly. And it's foolishness. It's foolishness. But these quote unquote civil rights leaders, they're on that foolishness to keep doing it. It makes no sense whatsoever. It makes no sense whatsoever. And, and it's like, you were saying this the other day. All this money that Black people bring in, we don't need to go to anybody else to make them rich. Spend it amongst ourselves and see how that trickles around in our own communities to make ourselves more prosperous, that we can own these stores that's already here in our community. We have to begin this process of self-realization that you're never going to be integrated into America. It's never going to happen. They've already wrote it in their reports. Said, well, hell, if we don't make this special effort now, by the time they reach 20 million, it's never going to happen. It's going to be impossible. But you still singing, we shall overcome. You still believing that you're going to pray to your God and your God is going to change America. It's going to save America, and these crackers going to treat you like a real human being. You full of shit, because it ain't going to happen.
So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he did mention about the Montgomery bus boycott, but that's not the here nor there. They can go back and listen to it, or they can get the PDF file and read it for themselves. What do you think about Robert Williams, and not just Robert Williams, but so many other Black people then and now who petitioned government for help and assistance? Because he begins the book by discussing how he was constantly petitioning government officials to do something about the racism, injustices, and oppressions that Black people were facing in Monroe County, all the way up to the president, United States Justice Department, governors, mayors, sheriffs, chief of police, and everybody turned a blind eye. So do you disagree or agree with Robert Williams' approach in regards to petitioning government officials to help where it's needed in our community?
I disagree. I thoroughly disagree, because you running to the same people who are doing it. You run into the cousin, you run into the brother, you run into the sister, and they protect their own. And you really think they're going to come out and fight their own for you? It's not going to happen. The quickest way to handle the violence that comes against you is to give them back what they're trying to give to you. You deal with them violently until they call for peace. Then you say, okay, we can come to the peace table. But until then, you fight them at every battle, every moment, every time, and you never surrender. You never surrender.
So why were so many of our people petitioning government? Because when I read a lot of autobiographies, so many, I mean, they got thousands and thousands and thousands of letters. So why do you, what was going on in the mind of our people to make them write the letter in the first goddamn place?
Because they believed in the American lie. They believed that they were Americans. They believed that the Constitution worked for them. They believed that there was equal rights and equal justice for all. You just got to petition them nicely. You got to ask them nicely. And so they write their nice letters and still get rejected. And they have not learned that because they believe so deep inside that America works when America doesn't. They don't want to accept the reality that it doesn't work for us. They don't want to accept the responsibility that says you got to handle your business yourself. They don't want to accept the responsibility that says we got to unify and work together in a systematic way that's going to bring to us everything that we deserve, because we're going to claim it and we're going to go out and we're going to take it. They don't want to live on that type of sphere, because then that brings you in direct confrontation with your enemy. See, they don't want the confrontation. They want to be able to ask nicely and get treated nicely and get their questions answered in a way that they want them. But that's just not reality. That's just not reality. We believe in a lie. We believe in a lie. And it's that lie that we believe in, and then we begin to repeat it. And then we become the lie, because that's the lie we ate. And this is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did such a masterful job in teaching us the way that he did. And so we understand that when they were coming together and saying this is America and you're American citizens, that it didn't include us. It didn't include us. But they hypocritically now say, yeah, my nigga, we talking about you. You American citizen. You enjoy the rights, the freedoms of like every other white person enjoy, and that's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true. But when it's time, wartime come on, niggas, you got to come on and serve your country that gave you everything. What did the president say? Ask not what your country can do for you, mm-hmm. but what you can do for your country. Black people believe that. They believe that, and they'll tell you quickly, don't nobody owe you anything. What they're saying is white folks don't owe you nothing. They don't owe you nothing. You got to go out here and get what you got to get, because they don't owe you nothing. When the reality is, oh, yes, they do owe me. The problem is, are we men and women enough to go take what was owed to us? Are we man and woman enough to take what is owed to us? Are we man and woman enough to secure our own future and the future of our people? Because America doesn't work. Not for us. And even those black folks that got into offices after Reconstruction, they haven't been serving us. They served themselves and white folks and the fake Jews over in Israel. That's who they served. They didn't serve us. They didn't do it. And so we have to accept our responsibility to get up and do it. There was a time at a conference in Mississippi in Coldwater, and I said our elders failed us. And our elders were pissed at me for saying it. Mm-hmm. And they stood up. Even the minister from the Nation of Islam in Hattie Spring and Holly Springs, Mississippi, stood up to beat down what I was saying. And I responded and whooped all their ass and showed them the actual facts. Because if you did what you're supposed to have done, all of these barriers would be gone. We'd have our own and we'd be doing what we need to be doing. But you didn't. And it don't make me anti-black or anti-elder because I call it out. Because now I'm on the front line. And I have to see the battlefield for as it is. And I have to know what you've done in the past to get me where we are here. Because we can't make the same mistakes we have to do things differently. And we can't compromise with it. And unfortunately, as an elder to this very day, won't even speak to me. I say, hey, how you doing, Baba? He won't even respond.
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't like the truth. But in order for us to move forward, we got to see the past as it is. We got to grade it as it was. And we got to make changes as we move forward. So this is why I say, when I first start listening, I'm like, this is very problematic. This is very problematic. This don't work.
You even came for me. You was like, truth has come to you. I said, oh, this motherfucker mad. I said, oh, he mad as fuck. Baby, when I went to read the next day, I had to shake you off. I just shake your ass off. I say, Lord God. I say, whoa, he mad. I already knew. I just had to shake you off because, like, you just kept, your spirit just kept fucking with me. I said, oh, he mad. You was like, you didn't even want to talk about that shit no more. You say, look, truth has, because I was going back and forth. You say, look, truth has come to you. I said, oh, he done. I already knew you was fired up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So, okay, so 2 more points.
Okay.
You mentioned reprisal for revenge. Please help me understand what in the book makes you want to touch on, like, what exactly is reprisal for revenge, and what do you recall from the book that make you want to, discuss this point?
Right, because he has said about being violent, or self-defense, but he didn't believe in it. He didn't believe in reprisals for revenge. He didn't believe in it, that if they killed my daughter 3 days ago, then when I see him on the 4th day, I'm gonna kill him. He didn't believe in that. And that was, again, problematic, because this person killed your child. You wasn't there when it happened. You come to find out even 10 days later, but that's the guilty party. So my duty is to kill him. And he's saying, no, that's not what we're about. That's not what we're about. We don't do that. We don't conduct ourselves in that way. And I thoroughly disagree. We have to conduct ourselves in that way. We have to. That's a fundamental right. And this is the way that we protect all of us, by going out there and getting the one who did that to us, kill them. I don't care if it's 100 days later. That's the one. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him, kill her, get rid of them. Because this is what they earned. And every time we fail to do that, we give them encouragement to say, this is how we can treat those niggas, because they ain't going to do shit about it. We encourage their brutality. We encourage their violence on us. So there can never be a limit to our violence. There can never be a limit to our defense. I don't care if it's 1,000 years later, they still should be dead. There's no limit. Just as America say, no matter you kill somebody 100 years ago, we got the evidence on you. There's no statutory requirement to say we can't charge you now because it was 100 years ago that you killed that person. We can still charge you. So we can still hold you responsible, and it's our duty to kill you, because this is what will stop them from killing us. This is what will stop them from killing us.
But
we have to kill them.
I'm sorry. That's interesting that you said that, because in American law, in their judicial system, they have certain laws. They have no time limitation.
Exactly.
So when you look at the crimes that they've committed against us, there should be no crime. There should be no limitation at all.
Exactly. None whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
Mm-mm. They owe. They don't get off. I don't give a damn. It's like when you was telling us about the car lot, the dealership. And their great granddaddy was one of them crackers out there hanging our people. But our people now in the modern time going to that dealership to buy cars, and they should not be.
And have no clue.
See?
Have no clue whatsoever that what I'm thinking based upon reading the book, I'm just inferring that Bynum Griffin is the actual founder of the company. And he just passed that company down to his, descendants. And they're still in operation today. And you have Black people shopping there not knowing that he actually tried to push Robert off a 70-foot cliff.
Exactly.
While he was still inside of his car.
And this is the information that needs to be known so they can stop spending money with them. Call them out for who they are and make them deal with it.
Yeah, we've been saying on the show on Tuesday night, Fall of America, many of these people are still alive today. Many of these people who committed these vicious acts of violence against our people, who were involved in the bombings, in the lynchings, in the sexual assaults, they are still alive today. They might be on their last leg, but their children are here, and their grandchildren definitely are still here. Exactly. And when I looked up the Griffins, it was clear to me that they were whitewashing and purposefully trying not to mention his name because they already know the connection associated with him. And with that being said, that brings us to what somebody commented on my channel, the No Action American Coon Patrol. What are your sentiments about the NAACP as expressed by Robert Williams, based upon what you heard?
The NAACP should be an organization not in existence today. The criminality that this organization has done, even to Robert. He's in a court case. Y'all are his defense. You present his lawyers, and then you pull his lawyers and don't even fucking tell him. And then he had to do 30 days on the what was it, the Kang Jane or whatever, what was that shit called, the
chain gang?
Yeah, he had to do 30 days on the chain gang.
I know you was livid.
Yes.
I'm telling you, Maurice, let me tell you something. I keep telling you, I read energy very well. I already knew you was upset. You were so fucking upset. You didn't give a damn about me no more. You was like, you need to get your ass out the way. Like, I love when you get that way, because it's like I learned from you so much. And even by you commenting, you made me see things from a different perspective. And I was like, oh, he mad, man. I was like, oh, he mad, man. And I was like, I got to keep going. But I just really had to pull it all together because you were very upset.
Oh, yeah.
And you were saying?
Yeah, I was very upset. And what the NAACP did to Robert is uncalled for. And it wasn't just to him. It's a whole list of people that they did that to. And, they do it and get away and think it's okay. It's all right. It's nothing. They'll get over it. I mean, hell, he even did it to Ella Baker. Even you stabbed her in the fucking back. And for what? For what? Because you don't agree? They speaking out on something that they believe that because you want to kiss white folks? You want to be happy with white folks? Because this fake Jew set y'all ass up? Did it to W.E.B. Du Bois. Why? And this is why I say they should not be in existence today. Now, when I was in Nashville, I went to a NAACP meeting. And I sat there and listened to their whole spiel. And then when they opened the floor up to speak, I went off. I mean, literally, I went off. And the president was sitting there and she, kept wiping her head with her napkin. And then when I finished, she said, "You remind me of your father." I'm like, "You don't know my dad." But that's what she said. "You remind me of your father." And went on back with the rest that she was talking about. At the end of the meeting, and she pulled me up and she said, "When I say you remind me of your father is Minister Farrakhan." Because when I'm hearing you, I'm hearing him. That's why I say you remind me of your father. She said, "I'm not saying anything that you said was wrong. Everything that you said was right. That's why I didn't have a comeback for it." But she said, "Why don't you join us and help us make it better?" And see, this is the trick, because I had to learn this. This is the trick. When they offer that caveat, they're not trying to change. They're trying to change you.
Right.
And so when I joined up with them, and I was in the part section that when people bring in their complaints, we look at it and come up with an answer for it. And so a person had brought in a complaint that they were, mistreated at a hospital in Pulaski, Tennessee. Now, everybody know the KKK was started in Pulaski, Tennessee. So the NAACP going down to Pulaski to handle this business. And I'm like, "Yep, I'll be there. I'm coming right with you." And everybody like, "Yeah, okay. These motherfuckers, when I get there, I'm there all by myself.
Wow.
And I asked the receptionist, I said, "Did the other people from NAACP get here?" "Oh, no, they called us about an hour ago saying that they wasn't going to make it." But ain't nobody called me and tell me that they ain't going to make it. So here I'm driving my happy ass down to Pulaski, Tennessee, ready to confront these motherfuckers. Think I got this organization with me, and they called out and didn't even tell me.
And didn't tell you.
Didn't tell me.
That's a damn shame.
Yeah. A damn shame. But this is who they are. And they're comfortable where they are because nobody gonna make them change. So when because they do this conference every year for the members of Congress, and I went and got in there. Al Sharpton was there. All these big wigs was there. They opened the floor up. So I get up, I get to the mic, I go the fuck off again, and I'm tearing their asses up. They call the security, escort me out. And I tell security, "Don't put your motherfucking hands on me. I'm going to say what I got to say." And I told Al Sharpton, I said, "You run around like motherfucker, like you the man. You ain't the man. You ain't the dude that is going to solve our issues. You are the dude that keep us stuck in our issues. So you ain't the answer for us. You faking the Jake. And this shit ain't gonna last. We'll find an execution date for your ass as well." And they were talking about these people that they were quote unquote anointing as the new leaders coming up. And I told them, "Y'all will have a face-off with us. Eventually, y'all will. Because both of these sides are not going on into the future together. Because you want success for our enemy, and we don't. So we're going to meet you on that battlefield. And trust and believe, we're not going to look to say, oh, but because you look like us, that you one of us. The only way you one of us is you right here with us. So you make sure this is the side that you want to be on, Because when we meet on that battlefield, we're not going to have sympathy for you. We're not going to have sympathy for you. This is what it is. So as they were escorting me out, the new ones understood exactly what I was saying. Hold on 1 second. This is my son.
Brother Roy, you say it should be an honor ceremony each year for whooping ass, sponsored by B1. What you talking about? The NAACP award, like when they have the NAACP awards? Earth, you still hanging in there with us. Thank you very much. We appreciate you all. He said it should be an honorary ceremony each year for whooping ass, sponsored by B1.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm back.
So, but also, you know, Robert Williams also talked about the so-called Negro leaders. He made it clear that it was that they were very problematic and a big part of the oppression that we suffer in this country. Because he said that they pretend to be concerned about when we lose jobs or when we lose our lives or when we lose this or when we lose that. But the reality is they are afraid of losing their job because they were given, you know, biscuits and trinkets and that they had expense accounts and stuff like that. They were getting a salary to pretend to want to advocate on behalf of our people. But they were really afraid of losing themselves. And if we really all, you know, just had this mentality to defend ourselves and just to fight back, then there would be no need for them, you know? And so just as long as these, like many of these pastors, they like many pastors. I'll say it this way. When I denounced Christianity, no, this was before I denounced Christianity. I was, like I already told you, I was a diehard, so I'm not going to tell that story again. But this particular day, and I don't know why, I was watching Joel Osteen. I don't even know if he's still a mega pastor, but at that time, he was a mega pastor, thousands of people, big ass church. And I was just watching this. I'm just sitting on the edge of the bed and I'm watching him on a Sunday morning. And my spirit spoke to me and said, let me see what he said on. He's a motivational speaker. And I just looked at the television like, okay, but that's all Joel Osteen is. He's not necessarily a pastor. There's nothing divine about him. Ain't nothing about him or his church. Joel Osteen, he's just a pimp. And he knows that people are ignorant and they don't know. And the only thing that he is, just like so many other pastors, they're just motivational speakers. So for us to wake up to a consciousness where we make a decision to fight unto death, like literally, like, is somebody in the chat? I think it was Core. Let me go back over this page. It was Cornus Sexta. And I think what Cornus Sexta is saying, our people want to live and we are too afraid to die, right? So we have this conscious mentality that, you know what? Fuck it, mask off. We gonna fight unto death. Somebody gonna die. Either you gonna die or I'm gonna. It's gonna be freedom or death. If we don't have that mentality, then the preachers will continue to tell us that we got to give our tithes and offering and function and live in laps of luxury, because Robert Williams mentions that too. He's like, y'all live in luxury. You have your Cadillac. You got on your fine suit. You getting money from the White Citizens Council to rock us to sleep and tell us to be nonviolent. As a matter of fact, how the fuck is it that you have the audacity to come into the Black community and ask us to be nonviolent. But you don't goddamn Klan and ask them to be peaceful. Yep. So he does mention that too. I think he had a lot going on inside of his mind, and he really needed some direction. He was a leader who needed a leader.
Exactly.
That's what he was. He was a leader who needed a leader. And when he mentioned Elijah Muhammad, I read his energy and he loved him. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's what I got. When I was reading that paragraph and he mentioned Elijah Muhammad's name, I felt love. And I believe it was coming from him. I felt love and respect for Elijah. Because for him to mention Elijah Muhammad's name, that was major.
Right.
That was, I mean, that just, when I saw that, I was reading because I didn't pre-read. I did not skim and skim. I just went, you know, I was like, just go do it.
Right.
But when I'm sitting there reading and I see Elijah Muhammad's name, and then I feel love and respect, and it was so pure. I know he respected Elijah Muhammad. I know that. But, you know, like I said, he was a leader who needed a leader. And there was just too many hands in the pot for Martin Luther King Jr. to send somebody to Monroe who he don't even know to try to get into the thick of things, and you all in the goddamn way. It's just too many hands in the pot. And so what do you do when you got Martin Luther King Jr., who's known all over the United States of America? He's received the Nobel Peace Prize. He got people following him from all over, and he's coming down here to Monroe. Like, what am I supposed? Like, it was really a lot going on. And I think in a situation like that, what we can learn is that when we put ourselves in a position and you say that you're a leader, you stand in that position. You know, you just stand in that, because now that the riot has broken out, it's not time to have a conversation about promising to not defend yourself and promising to be nonviolent. It's too late for that. They already killing people. They done bust the taxi cab driver across the head and fractured his goddamn skull. He in the goddamn prison bleeding to death with other individuals who are about to die and receiving no medical attention. Like, we really gonna have to we can't straddle the fence. You got to pick a side and you got to stand on it. And that's why I told you, I picked my side and I'm standing on that. And I don't apologize for it. And I don't give a fuck who got a problem with it. I stay to myself, because most people that I know do not have my position. They don't hold my position. And I've made up my mind. I just really want to, you know, stay in my lane, because I do feel like a lot of Black people will get me hurt as well. And I've made up my mind that I just don't want to be a part of the foolishness.
Exactly.
So,
you know, and at the end of the day, you know that it is correct that our own will turn on us faster than any damn thing else, especially if they don't have the right mindset. So, you know, it's what your position is not a bad position. I understand that 1,000%. It's just that we who do have that right mindset must always be thinking and planning for that moment where we will link up, you know, because it comes where we all will link up, you know, if, ands, or buts about it, you know, because when we start out, we're single individuals, but the uniting of our hearts puts us together as one. So Allah says in the Quran, remember when you were by yourself, and then I united your hearts so that you come together as one powerful force. is definitely on its way. And I know I've been saying for a minute, I want to get to Miami. I want to get there. I got to be able to, I want to see it. I know you tell me about it, but I want to see it. I want to breathe it. I want to see what it is. What is the condition? What our people look like? Even, maybe have an event down there or something. But that's definitely one of the big things on my to-do list.
So, in closing, if you had an opportunity to go back in time and speak to our brother Robert Williams before we close out, what would you say?
I would say that I love him. I respect him for what he did, for what he tried to do. Even though I disagree with a lot of it, I wish that he would have followed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And that way, all of this running from country to country, from pillar to post, he wouldn't have had to do. And he could have really had a life of really serving our people in the best manner. And, I think that would be it, that I love him. And thank you for everything that you did try to do. Mm-hmm. Because I believe in his heart of hearts, he wanted the best for our people. It's just the route that he took was not it. Was not it. Mm-mm.
All right, it was a good read.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Most definitely.
So that's it. Earth said that's the problem. When you're afraid to die, you can't live. And as a matter of fact, Earth, I was reading that today in Revolutionary Suicide. That was a quote by Huey P. Newton that he wrote in one of the chapters of his book. I think it was actually in the beginning of the book, where he thanked his parents. He thanked his mother and his father because he said he wasn't afraid to die. And that's what allowed him to live. And so we have to get to that point where we're not afraid to die, because they're killing us anyway. And if we must die, it should be with honor. And especially to protect our children, and our mothers and our fathers, and protect our home and our property. That's just a human right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Let me send this back to you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's okay. I'll deal with it. Yeah. And before we go, that reminds me of, I forgot the young man's name, but there was a black teenager, and it was something with a little white girl. Something that she did to him. It wasn't nothing sexual or anything like that. It was something very friendly, but nevertheless, it was something with a white girl and a black boy during this Jim Crow era in the segregated South. And so a white mob, they went and they snatched the little black boy, and they were going to lynch him. Before they did it, they went and got his father off of his job and told the father, get in the car. So you got the Klan in a car with the teenager that's tied up, and they go to the father's job to get him and say, get your ass in the car because we going to kill your fucking son. They ordered the father and the son to get out of the car and told the son to go to the fucking bridge and jump, while the father stood there and watched his son jump off the goddamn bridge. Now, when the child jumped off the bridge and drowned, they told the father, now get your ass back in the car. And they took his ass back to work, and he did a full fucking shift.
What?
Went home to his wife and for a few weeks never told his black wife what happened to her child. And when it came out, I guess somebody petitioned government to do something about it. When it came out, it was a news reporter. She put in the news, "Oh shit, he drowned." Yeah, motherfucker, because he was tied up. But the fact of the matter is, why did that father not have a knife in his pocket? Why did that father not have a fucking blade, a razor blade, or a fish? Oh, see, I hate to tell my business on YouTube, but let me tell y'all something. A fucking mask off. I be hating to do this shit. I'm not gonna do it, but I'm just gonna finish my story. The father should have had a razor blade, a few razor blades, and a few knives in his pocket. Because it's a lot of places on your body where you can hide a knife. If you don't have a gun, goddamn it, it's a lot of places on your body where you can hide a few knives. And that's my son in the car. Oh, you want me to get in? No problem, cracker. Because let me tell you something. Them motherfuckers would have been missing a goddamn trachea, whatever the fuck in your throat. I would have stabbed you right in right under your goddamn Adam's apple, that little space. Let me tell you, fuck it, let's crash.
Exactly.
I don't give a fuck about crashing into no goddamn tree. I don't give a fuck about crashing into no cement. I don't give a fuck about flipping over. I'm going to stab your ass in your motherfucking throat, and all of us gonna die tonight.
Exactly.
What is you talking about?
Exactly.
And that father should have jumped his ass in the water, because as a man, he didn't deserve to live. Them crackers took him back to work, and he finished a full goddamn shift. He didn't deserve to have a wife. He did not deserve to have children because he was not willing to protect them. I remember somebody told me, "You know why don't nobody fuck with your children? Because they know you crazy." And I just looked at them. They said, "We already know you crazy." That is my responsibility to protect my child, not yours. And if God gave them to you, protect them.
Exactly.
So, you gotta be unafraid to die. Earth, you ain't lied with that one, sister. You gotta be unafraid to die. And I told that to my fiance one day when he tried to. I told you when he tried to put his hands on me, I say try it. We was on the goddamn highway pushing. I say, hit me, bitch. I'm gonna take this steering wheel and I'm gonna yoke this bitch, and I say we gonna flip at least 5 times. We gonna kill ourselves and a whole lot of other people on this highway. Put your hands on me and see. I ain't got shit to lose. It's nothing that I have. I can't take this shit with me anyway.
Exactly.
But if I must die, it's gonna be an honorable death. I promise you that.
That's right.
I promise you that.
Most definitely. Most definitely. You know, I was looking at a video the other day about Ozone, Arthur Wallace, and the same cop that he killed. I think it maybe a month before, that same cop was brutalizing the black woman. Brutalizing the black woman. And he got what came to him. He earned his death. And he got it. He earned his death and he got it.
They say that I was reading about Arthur Wallace because when who is that in the chat? Because I'm not used to this name, but we appreciate you for being here. Because this individual just introduced this person to me, Cornus Sexter. He said, "Why do we allow them to prosecute us when we protect ourselves?" AKA Arthur Wallace, if we don't protect ourselves as a whole, we are done. Free Arthur Wallace now. And I went online to see what I could glean from it because I never heard this name. And it says that So Wallace had some social media posts, including one in the days before he shot and killed the officer. And in the post, Wallace said he will one day be proud to get pig's blood on his hands and boots. And that really is what I think contributed to him getting his lengthy sentence.
Mm-hmm. You know, he makes a great point. And we also know that this is something that has happened before, because that's how Ashanti got out, because they bust her out of prison, you know, and she made her way to Cuba.
Assad Shakur.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Now, those brothers, very bold, excellent plan, and walked in there and walked her right back on out. And it stands to this very day that she's still free in Cuba. No matter how many millions of dollar reward that they put on her head for her return, she's still free. That took a group of determined men and women to plot that, not only get her out of jail, but get her out of the country and to another country, safe and secure. That is something that we can reproduce, but we have to be together. We can't do things the second way that it was done with George Jackson, when they went into the court and tied the judge head to the shotgun. And oh yeah.
Oh, I never heard about that one.
You ain't heard about that one? Oh yeah.
They tied the judge's head to a shotgun.
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord.
Mm-hmm. And they thought that they were going to walk out, and they didn't. You know, they all got killed. The judge got killed. The DA got killed. And one of the brothers that happened to be in court, you know, on his charge, he got charged with being a part of the breakout, and he didn't have nothing to do with it. And, you know, at that time, there was a time when I was helping people that was in jail with their cases. He had wrote me and asked for his help, because I was able to get one brother who was wrongfully convicted out of jail. And this is a very, it's an interesting story. You know, Tupac even did a song about it. But yeah, that was the real deal. Now,
he was in the book Revolutionary Suicide. If I'm not mistaken, Huey P. Newton did write about him. He did write about him. I'm looking at him and I remember, oh yeah, because he was in San Quentin.
Yes, he was.
He was in San Quentin. And yes, he's in the book Revolutionary Suicide. Huey P. Newton did write about him. But it says that he was an author, prisoner, revolutionary, while serving an intermediate sentence for stealing $71 at gunpoint from a gas station in 1960. 71 goddamn dollars. It said he became involved in the Black Power movement and inspired the creation of an ultra leftist gang, the Black Guerrilla Family. He a light-skinned Negro too with an afro.
Yep.
Interesting.
Very. You know, those are the same, the Black Guerrilla Family is the ones that kidnapped, what her name, Patty Hearst, and had her out there robbing banks and stuff too.
What?
Oh yeah.
You know I'm gonna see if he have an autobiography. You know I'm gonna see if he wrote a book. Tomorrow I'm gonna be doing, as a matter of fact, I did it before we went on live, but I touched something by mistake, and I'm just gonna do it all over again when I wake up early in the morning. But I'm gonna tell the story when Huey P. Newton was shot and tortured. I'm just gonna do it over. I just want to. I'm a perfectionist. Never
Mm.
really comes out perfect, but I really try to get it as nice as possible. But yeah, I'm doing that tomorrow, and it's very interesting to learn because a lot of people know that he was. A lot of people don't know that he was shot. A lot of people don't know that. When
Oh,
I
wow.
talk to people, they have no clue. But he was shot by the Oakland police,
Mm-hmm.
and the police lied on him. They lied their ass off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be telling the story tomorrow, trying to conjure Huey P up from Wakanda and speak as if I am him. I'm trying to get into that mood, and I really did a good job, but they tortured our brother. And that's a very good story I love to tell because I don't want to give nothing away, but
Right.
you always got some fight in you. Let me say that.
Mm.
When you think you ain't got no fight left, or you got some left.
Mm.
And you'll see what our brother did when he was down and out, but he used what he could to let the motherfuckers know, bitch, I'll fight you with my last breath if I have to. And that's what I love about Huey P. Newton. I know he had his faults and I know he had his problems, but that was a rider right there. And I love that black man.
Mm.
Love him, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell his story tomorrow.
Mm. I'm definitely listening into that.
So yeah, I gotta see about George Jackson, see what my brother got.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh yes. I am such a book nerd. Oh, I'm excited now.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Okay.
This was a beautiful program. Yeah.
Always, you are, because you a good listener. I wanted to say that. I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to even, just to be able to come on your platform, because I actually took a snapshot of when you first came across my YouTube page. And I remember, I think it was early in the morning one day, and how they recommend channels to you, and you were recommended to me. And I don't know, like I'm always trying to find something new, and it was something in your title, and you dark skin or whatever. And I was like, let me see what this man talking about. And I was hooked. I was fucking hooked. And I remember I told you, if I had a father like you, a husband like you, a brother like you, male friends like you, my life would have been much better from the day I was born. And I really mean that, because from the day I was born, I do believe my father hated me. My father never showed me love. Not only did my father not love me based upon my observation and how he treated me, but my mother told me that the first day she brought me home from the hospital, my brother hated me. And they always shown me hatred and violence, and they would physically abuse me. And I grew up being physically abused by my father and my brother and so many other boys in the neighborhood and boyfriends and shit like that. That's all I know is abuse from black men. And that's why I am the way I am. And like I've never told you this, but I'm gonna tell you this now. There are some people in your channel, on your channel, they don't do me. You know how I know some of your followers don't like me? Because I read energy very well, and the spirit has revealed that to me. They can't stand the sound of my voice. I'm telling you, I read energy very well, but you gave me an opportunity to share your platform, and you've given me so much life. And I really enjoy reading with you because I've learned so much, and I love to learn. And you a good listener. You're very intelligent. Like I ask you a question and you don't necessarily have to contemplate the answer. You just off the fly. You have the answer and it makes sense. And I'm very thankful for that, because you don't get this type of teaching. It's very hard to get this type of teaching. So I appreciate it. And I'm just appreciative, Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Wow. That is something. That is something. And you had definitely a good impact on my life. Definitely so. Hey, two peas in the pod come together for the right time to do the right work. Because definitely, without you, we wouldn't even be on Fall of America. I don't even know what I'd be talking about, but it definitely wouldn't have been that. So, all honor and praise for the work that you do because you help make this thing work. And I'm glad you're part of the team, for sure. I am glad you are part of the team.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So also thank you, Cornice Sexa. Thank you for chiming in. Your name is new to me, but thank you for being here. Earth, Brother Roy. Thank y'all very, very, very much. And Cornice, just to let you know, because I see you're commenting in the chat from my channel because I'm streaming it live on my channel, but Maurice Muhammad, get into it. Please go to his channel, subscribe. We're doing Fall of America book study every Tuesday at 6 o'clock, and we are learning. And so you're more than welcome to come join us, and thank you for being here, you and everybody else. It's been fun, and Maurice and I will be back on Tuesday, and look out for my reading on Huey P. Newton tomorrow.
Exactly. That's a good one to look forward to. So don't be out there at no damn 4th of July with no damn American flag, having no cookout when you can be listening and learning, because this is what it's about.
Did I tell you when I went to the gravesite of July Perry, somebody put a goddamn flag next to his headstone?
Really? No, you didn't tell me that one.
Yes. I didn't send you the... Oh, I'm going to try to send you the video. Because July Perry was lynched for trying to vote. There was some, I think it was some, I don't know if it was white or black people. I think it was some white people. They were saying, go down there and vote. He was saying, the motherfuckers don't want us to do that. And the white people was boosting his ass up. The Constitution say you can do it. Go your ass down there and vote. Don't let them angry white people intimidate you. This is your right, so exercise it. July Perry goes to attempt to vote, and he is lynched. Him and a friend. And I don't know if it was July or his friend that was dragged by a car. They drug his ass from the back of a car. And they killed up to, they don't know exactly how many people died in Ocoee, Florida, but it was a massacre. And after that massacre, the majority of people, if not all black people, they left Ocoee, Florida for fear of dying. And so they didn't even bury those black people where they lived. They took them about an hour to Orlando to bury them in the segregated cemetery. And some are even in an unmarked grave. And so it was some years later that they found out there was some organization or society or whatever. They found out where July was buried in Orlando. And I traveled to Orlando recently to find his gravesite. And I had to go into the office and ask them. It was very nice. And so he has a headstone. And when I put the flowers on his headstone, I noticed that there was an American flag. And I wanted to take the flag and, throw it in the garbage, but there are some cemeteries with cameras. So, I didn't want to be bothered with that. But it was very disrespectful to put a flag at his headstone. And this man was lynched simply in 1920, simply because he was exercising his right to vote. And right across, literally maybe 10 steps away from his gravesite, was the gravesite. It was a family plot for Thomas Jefferson's grandson, who was a citrus planter. He had a citrus plantation, and his goddamn grandson and his family is buried 10 steps away from July Perry. Yeah, so. Yeah, crazy. So yeah, I'm not participating in the 4th of July foolishness. A lot of my friends and family, they are, and it just is what it is. It is what it is. And I do believe that for me, and I was just telling one of my coworkers, we're gonna close out in a few minutes, but One of my coworkers, she gave her daughter $3,000 to get her car fixed, her
Mhm.
daughter, and to get an engine. And I told her, I said, why would you give your daughter $3,000 to get an engine fixed? I said, people still doing that shit. I say, let my car cough. If my goddamn car cough, I'm gonna go get a brand new one. I don't fucking play with this. I'm gonna ride good. And it's not going to be a luxury car, but it's going to be something. I don't mind paying to get to point A to point B. I don't do all that shit. Fix this, fix that. No, let this bitch cough. I'm finna get me a new one. So she gives her daughter $3,000 for the engine, and the man walks off with the goddamn money and leave the car in disrepair.
What?
She just told her daughter, yeah, her daughter drove 2 hours away to go purchase fireworks because she said they're cheaper in the next county over. And I said, but she didn't even give you back your money that you lost for helping her fix her goddamn car. And you mean to tell me she driving to get some fucking fireworks to celebrate a holiday that ain't got shit to do with us? You know what she told me? Well,
What?
she say, well, my daughter know that this holiday she should not celebrate it, but she want to do what's best for her kids. And I say, well, you tell me how the fuck that's best for her kids. To teach them to celebrate a holiday when we were still slaves. I say, see, that is the fucking problem. Y'all talk all that shit, but y'all don't fucking walk it. So she was like, well, whatever my kids do, that's their business. And I say, you right behind the foolishness and fuckery.
Exactly.
You right behind the foolish and the fuckery. And that's why y'all ass always broke. And that's why y'all ass always begging. And that's why y'all ain't got shit. Because when you need money, you don't have it because you keep putting it into shit that you don't need. I say, I told you, I don't fuck with these holidays, and I meant it. I don't say I don't acknowledge holidays and then go buy a Christmas tree. I never said I don't fuck with these holidays and then go buy some goddamn fireworks or a Juneteenth t-shirt or a goddamn Easter basket. I say I am so fucking sick of you. So when you don't have no money, don't call me complaining. Because I see why you ain't got shit. And I said all that to say this. When our people acknowledge and participate in these European holidays, they are putting like a mark on their head. You see, I feel like they're putting a mark on their head to say, I'm guilty. So spirit, have your way with me. And whatever happened to you, it fucking happened to you. Because if you ain't got no goddamn respect for yourself, you expect the white man to have respect for you? You ain't got no respect for your ancestors, no respect for your people, no respect for your God to go acknowledge this shit. That's why y'all always broken, fucked up, right?
Exactly.
I told her I said, that's why y'all always broke and fucked up. Because you don't have your priorities in order and people cannot teach you the truth. I said, that's why y'all ain't got no fucking money. That's why your luck always bad. Because you have no respect for your God, your ancestors, and your people.
Exactly. Wow.
First, she say she's I'm a fire starter. I'm popping some fireworks. Okay. I wouldn't dare be caught dead doing that shit. I'd be too embarrassed. I'm serious. I would be too embarrassed. I would be too embarrassed to do it.
Yeah, there ain't no way. I ain't popping no fireworks.
To acknowledge freedom for white people and enslavement for our people, I'm not putting that stain on my consciousness. I'm not going to rouse the spirit of my God because my God is an angry and jealous God. And I'm not going to disrespect God like that. I'm not going to disrespect my ancestors. I'm not going to disrespect Black people like that.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And you know, I had did a little talk because of that, where the Bible talks about that the God is jealous. And I said, no, I don't think that the translation is correct, that he's a jealous God. I said, he is a zealous God.
Mm-hmm.
He's a zealous God. And I said, that falls more in line with how he is, because he has that energy, that enthusiasm, that pursuit, of his cause or objective. If you get around and you fuck around, he'll kill you.
Mm-hmm.
He will kill you. He don't play, And of course, the pastor disagreed, but I said, when we look up and we understand what our God is, and he knows himself, and he's not jealous, he's zealous. And that's that same energy, that zealous spirit that we have within us. And you poke us the wrong way, you're going to fuck around and find out exactly what that feel like, exactly what that be like. Because we are the owner, the maker. We are it. We are his bloodline. We are his people.
Mm-hmm.
And we will tighten that ass up. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. And so it's a good thing. The white man will tell you, you should never be zealous. But we should be zealous. Okay. Most definitely. And ready to take their head off at any goddamn time of offense. That's just how it is. That's what we are. That's what we are. That's how it is. And so, like as I said, another great, great program. It's always an honor to soldier by you, with you, and make it happen. And make it happen. What time do you know what time you're doing it tomorrow?
I'm gonna try to do it as soon as I wake up, when I got my happy voice. When I have my coffee and I have my happy voice,
mm-hmm.
And it shouldn't take me long. It really shouldn't take me long. It's not gonna take me long. But I read that story like 2 years ago, and I was like, damn, people don't know this shit, because I didn't know. And when I read it, I was like, it's something in the book that he did, and I always tell people, and I'm not gonna give it away. But when them motherfuckers think you ain't got no fight in you, yes, you do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a damn if it's a pinky toe. You better use it.
Exactly. Fight on, fight on, fight
That's
on.
That's right. Unto death. Unto death.
Exactly. And don't give up no limit. Keep on. All right, family. We thank y'all for joining us and staying with us for this long. We ask y'all to continue, like, share, and subscribe. Share the program so that the people can get the knowledge and understand the time and what must be done. We thank you again. We love you all for coming and joining with us. And as we always say, you kill the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black first, today, tomorrow, and forever. Love you, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. So you better get the message and get it straight.
You're going to need some bridge work.